Tackle Junkies, what's going on, fellas? A little Q&A coming at you guys today. Hopefully all the rain has stopped in your area. I know it was nice this past weekend in our area. It was nice because I had to work, obviously, but this coming week, I believe we got 80 and 90% on Wednesday and Thursday, so fishing's not looking good this week. I know a buddy of mine was out this past weekend, didn't get any bites at all for the time that he was out there. Water temp was like 52, and I believe last time I was out at that lake it was like 68, so big drop in water temperature, and like I said, fish are not biting. So it could be a tough week for fishing, so I may do like a two-part video like I did for this last time, just because I got a lot of questions on here, and I'm only going to reply to the ones that replied to my comments, so let's just get right into it. First up is from Lady Bass. What made you grab the Okuma rods and reels? Good question. I believe it was like, could have been 3 years ago, give or take. That's when I was with the Hooked Up Network. Okuma and Hooked Up wanted to collaborate, and at that time they wanted to deal with myself and Fluke Master. And you'll see a few years ago, I did a couple of videos for Okuma, and so did Gene. And that was the first time that I got to hold those rods and reels and really try out that softer action for a rod that I would normally use a faster action for, if that makes sense. And you know, basically with that softer action, you know, I just felt like I put more fish on the boat. You know, my initial thought was you're going to lose sensitivity with that softer action, and that was not the case. I mean, basically, like I said, I just felt I landed more fish with that softer action. So I was with them, or I did a couple videos for them that first year. And then the following year, Hooked Up ended up shutting down between guys renegotiating and a couple guys leaving. I'm just assuming this. There wasn't enough money to go around, so they shut down. But they know they knew my feelings towards Okuma, and I asked them if I could have the contact before they shut down. And they asked Okuma. Okuma didn't care. They gave me the contact. I contacted them a couple years ago, and I've been kind of working with them ever since. And the end of last year, they contacted me and asked if I wanted to shoot for a full sponsorship. And of course I was like, you know, let's do this. And as you can see, it worked out well. So super pumped to be with Okuma. And like I said, but it was a few years ago when I first got to hold those rods and reels for the first time. So, all right, next up. Let's see here, with all that was from Lady Bass. This one here is from It's Logie Bear. And I'll put all the comments on the screen there so you can see who asked the question. It's Logie Bear. With all the rain happening in Northeast Ohio, my question is, what is your go-to bait after heavy rain? So after heavy rain, so you got a low pressure system come in, drop some rain on you, it moved out, you probably got, you know, clear skies, bright sun and all that, what they call like a bluebird day. Fishing can be tough. Now, keep in mind, I fish muddy water, pretty stained water, muddy water, and you know, bass are going to hold tighter to cover in those conditions, you know, versus a clear water lake. Me, in those conditions, what I would do, I mean, I do this really in most conditions just because this is how those lakes fish. But on those days, I'll slow down just a little bit, and I'll get like a new jig, vial cross, something like that, and just pitch those to like isolated stumps, laydowns, a grass edge, rock point, something that will hold fish. And like I said, just slow down, drag a jig, swim across, something like that. That's how I would attack that day. Shaky head is good too. You know, like I said, you know, shaky head is really, it's not a search bait, but in a situation like that where I know fish are pinned to cover, you know, a shaky head's a great option just because you can throw it in there, leave it there. You just shake the rod, so you're giving the bait plenty of action, but you're not, so you're moving it, but you're not actually moving it. So I mean, a shaky head you wouldn't think would be great in muddy water, but it really is, because you can leave it one spot with action, just with shaking your rod tip. Or really just shaking the slack in your line will give it plenty of movement. So shaky head is great in a situation like that. Okay, next up, what kind of rods do you use for Texas rigs? From Bass in the North TV. Let me just grab one. I use, that's the Okuma EVX. Now this series here has the faster action. It's the TCS, which has the softer action. Now there is still a few models in this series, like the 6.8, that's a spinnerbait rod that I use. That one has a softer action. I believe they have a jerkbait rod. Of course, their cranking rods have that softer action, but their other rods in the series, the EVX, have that faster action. This one here is a 7'2", medium heavy, fast action. I got the TCS 6.6 on there. That is 15-pound, a Brazex. It's got a Velcro Texas rig on there right now. But that is my Texas rig rod right there. Okuma EVX. Braden Smith, what blade should I fish on my spinnerbait? You guys know I'm a huge spinnerbait guy. Now, let me just grab them here. Okay, you guys know I fish muddy water. In muddy water, you know, vibration is key. Typically, you hear guys talk about a double Colorado. That's what I should be fishing the most in that muddy to that stained water that I fish. You know, you get more thump out of that Colorado blade. You know, you can call fish in from further away. You know, they're going to feel it. But me personally, I have the best luck with a double willow, and it has a lot to do with how I fish. You know, I have a hard time slowing down, and that double willow, you can reel it much faster. That Colorado blade's got a lot more thump. It forces you to reel it a little bit slower, and I just feel I catch more fish with that double willow. Now, there's other combinations you can use as well. You can use a combination where it's one willow and one Colorado. But me personally, I like a double willow. You hear a double willow tossed more in clear water because you can reel it faster. You know, I need to make a video too on like why and when to throw a spinnerbait, what's the best conditions and all that. But typically, you know, in clear water, you're wanting to move that spinnerbait a little bit faster just because they'll get too good a look at it. Obviously, if you look at a spinnerbait, it doesn't look real at all. I mean, it's just a hunk of metal, lead, you know, some blades. In clear water, if you're slow rolling that on, you know, a day that's, you got a nice sunny day with no wind, they're going to get a really good look at that bait, and you're not going to catch any fish on it. So, in clear water, willows are key so you can really burn them in and they don't get too good a look at it. How I fish them in muddy water, I'm running those baits along laydowns, stumps, grass lines where I know fish are holding. So for me, I don't think blade combination is a huge deal just because I'm fishing the spinnerbait where I know the fish are at. I'm not just throwing it open water trying to call fish in. If that's what I was doing, I would use something with more thump so they can feel it further away. But I'm running that spinnerbait right where they should be. So when it comes across them, they're going to turn and hit it, hopefully. So, I mean, like I said, Colorado blade would be a better choice in muddier water, but I just had better luck with that double willow. But, I mean, willow blades will give you more flash and less thump. You'll get a little more thump out of that Colorado blade. But, like I said, there's other blades on the market as well, different combinations, but that's what I use. I like a double willow the most. Great question here by Bass Fishing Nebraska. Do you think it's necessary to own all these lures and stuff even though you don't fish tournaments? Absolutely not. Guys, a lot of gear here in this room. I don't tournament fish. I fish probably like 3 or 4 days a week. If I'm not on the boat, I'm usually at a farm pond or I'm fishing a park lake. You know, I fish as much as I can. The majority of the time, I'm fishing a spinnerbait and a crankbait. You know, that's just how I love to fish. That's how I love to catch them. You know, I could be happy just with a couple rods, a few of those baits, and fish all year long. I mean, I love fishing a crank and a spinnerbait. But another fun part of fishing for me is trying new lures, you know, different colors, spinnerbaits, like different blade combinations. I mean, all sorts of stuff just to see what works best. You know, I love throwing a square bill, but what if I'm only throwing just the bomber and there's all these other square bills that'll catch more fish than that bomber? You know, I want to know that. You know, this is my hobby. This is what I do. If I'm not working, if I'm not with the family, I usually have a fishing rod in my hand. I mean, it's just what I do. Now, all this gear is expensive, and that's what that's the aspect of it that I don't like. You know, this room, okay, this room makes me look like I'm not very responsible, and I get this a lot. That's the only reason I bring this up. Everyone says, "Oh, you're just pissing money away. You're doing this, doing that." Okay, I'm a very responsible person. Okay, my job, my paychecks, okay, that I make from my actual job, my truck washing job, not a dime of that pays for any of this, okay? That money goes for bills, it goes for whatever the family needs, and it goes in the bank. I'm a big saver. It doesn't look like I am, but I am. You know, like I said, not a dime of that money pays for this. It's no secret you'll make a few bucks from YouTube. I do make a few bucks with this channel. I have awesome sponsors. That's how this room is filled, you know, with that money. or with what sponsors have given me. You know, I don't just get my paycheck and go straight to Bass Pro. That's not how I roll, guys. But to answer your question, no, this is not necessary. If you're a tournament guy, yes, it's going to be. But just for your weekend angler, an everyday guy like me, just fishing whenever, you know, it's not necessary at all. I only have it all, like I said, because of my sponsors. That's why I have all this gear. But if it wasn't for the sponsors, I wouldn't have half of this stuff. But main thing is, get whatever you can afford. Get whatever rod and reel, you know, to get the best quality that you can afford. Get whatever bait you can afford. Go out, whether you're on a John boat, a big bass boat, from the bank, whatever. Go out there, try and catch fish, have some fun. Okay, next one from Duncan Spicer. What's your go-to top water lure? Right here, guys. Striking Rage Toad. I've caught so many fish on this bait right here. This is my go-to color right here. Normally I'll take some chartreuse JJs and really brighten that belly up. But green pumpkin, chartreuse belly. I run a 6/0 triple X strong twist lock owner hook in this bait. They recommend a 4, but if you rig a 6 perfectly straight on here, it won't roll as bad. And I just get a better hook up with that size 6. But Rage Toad, without a doubt, my go-to top water lure. All right, next up from NJ Bass Masters. Is the Bass Mafia box worth it? Great question. You guys can see I got a bunch of them right up there. Those are just the standard coffins. That's a great box. No doubt, great box. I believe those were, could be high 20s, low 30s for those boxes. I usually buy them too when Tackle Warehouse has a sale, so I don't pay full price for them. But, you know, those boxes, it's a tough call. You know, as a tackle junkie, guys, I want to try as much as I can. Their new boxes are like the terminal coffin, the jerkbait box, I believe even their spinnerbait box. I could be wrong on that spinnerbait, but I know for sure the other two, they're like 50 bucks a box. And I think at that price point, I think you know, they lost me there. You know, I really want that terminal coffin. I have a $25 gift card to Tackle Warehouse to where I'm really leaning towards that coffin. And I still may get that one just because I have that gift card. It's only going to cost me $25. But will I go out and pay full price 50 bucks for those boxes? No way. To me, I think that's just too steep. I mean, 50 bucks for a tackle box is high. Maybe the tournament guys, to where, you know, they're banging the heck out of their boxes, all the, you know, the rough water and all that. They want the best, most durable box possible. But for me, 50 bucks is too high. You know, those boxes up there, I think that's about the max I want to spend. You know, I got a ton of the Plano boxes. I've never had one of those break on me. I like the storage options better on the Mafia boxes, how you can put more dividers and all that. It's just much more of a durable box. But at the 50 bucks price point, I say no. You'll probably end up seeing that one just because I got that gift card. But the other ones, man, there's no way I'd pay 50 bucks full price. So hopefully that answers your question. Quality box for sure. Those ones, like I said, I don't mind paying for, but those new ones, I just think they're too high for me personally. All right, next up from Joe Mulis. What is the best time of year conditions for deep cranking? I don't do a ton of deep cranking anymore. I used to do it all the time just because it was fun for me to do that. But fishing these muddy water lakes, you know, I realized that there's no bass down there that deep, you know, so it's more of a clear water thing. I believe the best time and conditions going to be, I believe, summertime, you know, just a hot summer day. You got blue sky, sun's out. Like I said, clear water is when I think deep cranking would be the best. Just that hot summertime, clear water deal. One more here from Darren. I'm not gonna say your last name wrong. This will be the last one for this video. Not fishing related, but tell us Tell us something about yourself and your family. How old you are? How did you meet your wife? What about your folks? You have any siblings? Just elaborate. I like hearing the personal side of YouTubers that I watch. Oh, and update us on the car break-in. All right, as far as car break-in goes, my wife finally got her car back. They had it for I think like 6 or 7 weeks, it seemed like. I think we put over 2,000 miles on the rental. That's how long we had that rental till we got her car back. They did a great job on her car. I believe we're probably still going to trade it in. It was a brand new car. We only had it for a few months. And just the fact that it got broken into, my wife just, has a hard time dealing with that. I mean, I think she's fine with it now, but the whole time that it was in the shop, we wanted to trade it in. It just wasn't the right time yet. But as soon as I run probably a good enough deal to where we won't be upside down, we'll probably trade that car back in. At least that's our thought right now. As far as my truck goes, truck's back out of the shop. There's a few panels on the inside that need to be replaced. You know, my truck's old, but there was not a scratch on my interior. I mean, it was flawless. It looked brand new. And they replaced some of the panels with used panels, which are all scratched up and look like crap, you know, and I don't want those in my truck. Not that, you know, because I took care of my interior. So, I mean, if I did it, it wouldn't be that big a deal, but since there's not a scratch on anything else in the truck, I don't want these panels replaced with somebody else's, you know, scratches. So, I'm waiting on those to come in, back to the body shop, get those replaced, and then that's all done. So, anyways, they have not caught the guys yet. They know, like I said, they know a description of them, they know the car and all that, but no luck finding them. I believe it's a stolen car coming over from St. Louis, you know, doing all this. Anyways, I believe it's still going on as well, so keep a lookout where you park. Make sure you're parked around cameras. As far as a little bit about myself and my family, let's see here, my parents, they've been married for what, about 40 years. It'll be October, 40 years for them. My dad started, you know, I work for my dad. He started this truck washing business probably like, I don't know, mid-30s, upper 30s years ago, maybe 37, 38 years ago, something like that. It's been a long time. Maybe 35, I don't know, somewhere in that range. It's been a long time he's had this business. And he started this actually when he was working for RPS, which is now FedEx. And at that time, they only had like 5 or 6 trucks. He was working in the docks or on the docks. He wanted to make some extra money. And he asked the guys if he could start washing the trucks. That's how all that came about. He started washing those trucks, and then his friends heard about him washing trucks on the side. He started washing their trucks. He got hooked up with Ryder. He washed his accounts for them. And pretty much the rest is history. He had to stop working for RPS and just do the truck washing thing full time. He ran that out of back of a car, an old car, for a while. Then he moved to a van, and then he got big enough to where he could get some straight trucks, like a U-Haul type truck. We run 2 of those now on the road. And it's just me, my dad, and my uncle right now doing this. And my mom and my wife, they do the bookwork. But just 3 of us washing right now. I got a couple buddies that help me from time to time on certain days of the week. But the steady guys are me, my dad, and my uncle. Let's see here, I have an older sister. She is... I'm 36. I believe she's 30. I believe she's going to be 38, I believe. She's a lawyer. She's doing great. Her husband's also a lawyer. They got 2 beautiful little girls. They're doing really good. My wife is... By the moon and the stars in the skies, and I swear we'll be married 15 years this month, the 17th. I met her, I was friends with her brother, and that's how I met her. But, like a shadow that's by your side. You know, she's my angel. I'd be lost without her. So, we've been together, what, I guess a year and a half or a couple years before we got married. So I guess about 17, 18 years that I've been with my wife. And it's been a pleasure. It really has, Becca, if you're watching this. I love you. Other than that, no other brothers or sisters. Got this little mutt here, Bella, come here. Come here, come here, come here. Ugh. Got the little pooch. Say hi. Got her. And you guys see my couple boys. My oldest is 10 and my youngest is 6. So that's something about us. You guys know that, you guys always ask this, I'll go ahead and say it again. I've been working for my dad since I was 13 years old. And so I've been doing that, what, 23 years now. So eventually I'm sure I'll take the business over. It's just tough trying to find guys to work. My my dad and my uncle, they really don't know too many guys to work, so I'm trying to find guys to help us out, you know, a lot of younger guys. And it seems like as soon as they hear weekend work, they don't want no part of it. So it's hard to find guys to work weekends and really just to work anymore in general. There's not really a lot of workers out there from what I'm seeing. You know, we get guys and some of them just don't work out. They don't want to work. But eventually, if I can find a couple guys, I'm sure my dad and uncle would retire, and then I'll end up taking everything over. But for now, that's what's going on, a little bit about me and my family. We'll go ahead and end it here, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you on part 2.